Good afternoon. Everyone knows someone with a medical condition that requires life-saving medicine. We are here to help you turn those individuals into supporters and help you achieve your target of 1 million by 2016 and your subsequent goal of 10 million by 2017. My name is Vanessa, and I'm here today with Darren and Ellen to bring you a recommendation for your company. Now, we've identified two key areas that we need to focus on today. The first is the lack of awareness that we've seen of AOM's mission. And the second is the limited resources that we have in establishing the IS infrastructure. We've identified that the key objective is overcoming these challenges to be able to amount to the largest number possible of signatures to bring awareness to this cause. We've developed a three-pronged recommendation in order to help AOM generate awareness by bringing the cause to an international stage through the engagement of a user model. Our three-pronged approach consists of attract, convince, and engage. We're going to run you through a little bit of analysis first, just to let you know some comparable cases of how we came up with a solution. Now, we've seen that many organizations are successful in engaging in a campaign when they focus either on awareness or fundraising. We've seen less success when the emphasis is on both. In terms of awareness, what a lot of companies have been able to do is reach out to the masses and generate a need for something to be done, which turns into a call to action, asking individuals to get involved. When an individual gets involved with a cause, they feel like the cause becomes their own, and they're more aware of the issue and why it's important for it to be resolved. This leads to donations, monetary sums to help fund the cause further. Now, what we've seen with Canadian Blood Services, for example, is that they have developed partnerships with university campuses as well as corporate ambassadors. What these do is they get these individuals to push the message through of the company through their organization. This in turn gets the message heard. And this allows individuals to become involved. That is the call to action. Individuals now come forward and donate blood for Canadian Blood Services. I, Vanessa, donated blood. I care about Canadian Blood Services. I now choose to also donate to this cause. We want to keep that frame of mind when we focus on what CaseIT is trying to achieve with the AOM mission. So, this ties us back to our model and our recommendation of attract, convince, engage. So to dive deeper into the three areas. The first, attract. As the Canadian Blood Services did, we want to develop partnerships with university ambassadors and corporate ambassadors that can act on our behalf to push the message through their organizations. What we've seen is that currently there are over 90,000 individuals that are signed up, and their sign-ups reflect over 400 million individuals on behalf. So what this means is that there are individuals interested in this cause that could be reached out to through the networks of these corporate partners or university partners. As we've seen, referrals, the action of having someone else telling you to do something is much more impactful in getting you to engage with the cause. And as we're aware, the university ambassadors and university students as a whole really like to share things on social media, as we saw the impact of the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge going viral. So what does this mean? How do you really convince individuals to get engaged with what you're saying? You pull a little bit of...
Before you get to the slide, on the referral part, how do you get to your first referral? It's easy to say timeshare is a big one, push referrals. How do you get to the first one so that it continues?
Yeah, so we've identified that we're looking to hire two individuals, one to hire corporate relations and one to hire more of those university side relations, and identify who the key corporate partners could be, in addition to the key university partners. So for example, Richard Brenson is an ambassador that we currently have on the website. So he would subsequently be able to send a unique link that is Richard Brenson's to his network, where they now are able to sign up through his referrals, thereby increasing the network. Does that make sense? Perfect. So to move on, as we were identifying before, in order to convince, we want to ensure that individuals have that call to action, something that they have to do. And that ties into your question of how do the referrals really come to be alive. What this does is it gets individuals to not only get their own link, but have the opportunity to develop a YouTube video that they can share with friends or family. So what this does is it allows individuals to put this as their own cause on their own social media platforms. This creates a holistic model where individuals that were simply signees before now become overall supporters and ambassadors for the brand, leading to greater engagement as they push through the message, through the ownership of the cause to themselves, and thereby moving forward. We did consider a few other alternatives. First, doing a corporate challenge, and second, focusing more on a video submission competition focused on pay-per-click review. However, what we identified was that the mission of Mindset is to shift and change minds, and that is what we want to do here today. We want to make sure that we remain in line with the mission of the organization, which is why we chose the redesigned online engagement strategy, where we're able to attract individuals who truly care about the cause to become passionate ambassadors for us. Now Darren is going to explain to you.
Can you give me an example of what, if I was going to do this, what I would put in my video?
Yeah, of course. So you would identify the cause that you're most passionate about. For example, do you want to go to the partners, or? I apologize for what I'm about to do. Oh. Well, we can't get to our appendices, so I'm sorry. I'll just tell you about it, but hopefully we can show you something later. So basically, our idea is that you choose a cause that you're passionate about, be it Alzheimer's, be it cancer, be it something that you really care about because you know someone who maybe has suffered from it, or maybe yourself, and you identify the need for life-saving medicine being extremely important. So since you're passionate, you have that incentive to make your own video and tell others why you think this really needs to get to that World Health Organization level in order for them to do something about it, to ensure that those who don't have access to the medicine that they need really can get that access. So we're getting to that personal level and getting individuals to track.
So you want me to do a video and my signature, is that it? You want two things from people, a video and a signature?
So mainly, as you sign up, you'll get your link that you can use to refer others, and it's your option. You can make a video or you can not make a video, but we see that there will be some individuals that choose to do so.
And how much will your strategy cost us?
So, what we've identified is that with the budget that we have, we can be sustainable for the first 2 years without any donations by hiring the individuals that will be reaching out to the campus as well as the corporate partners. And with that, we've identified that we need to get a web developer in-house to help follow the strategy and back end of things, as well as we've identified some overhead costs also. We also feel that donations will start to come in, as we will also recommend to incorporate a donations button into the webpage to ensure that we can really be a sustainable organization. So, moving forward, Darren will now explain to you the back end of how the strategy is engaged within UIS infrastructure.
Thanks, Vanessa. Moving forward, what we can see is this is the current information flow, and I think this will make a lot of things clear for the audience here today. What we see is we have a refer. This could be a social media website, it could be a person directly, or something like change.org that currently refers a lot of the people that are signing up. And what it brings them to is the user interface, as you can see here as it currently stands today. From there are two main outputs. One is the information they actually sign up with, their name, their location, and their email, which allows us to do direct marketing efforts. So for example, Graham and Jastrin, you've noticed that over time, you've hit certain benchmarks of 25,000, 50,000, 75,000, and use these emails as a way to reach right back out to those people that care. The second one, and something we're going to dive quite deep on in a second, is the analytics. Currently, you're using Google Analytics to do a lot of this stuff, but it seems like right now, a lot of what's going on and a lot of what's stemming from these insights are kind of ad hoc. So what we want to do is provide a way with the Google Analytics software to do something more robust and inform the entirety of the process. So moving forward, this is what we see as kind of a redesigned version. We're going to dig a little bit deeper on each of these parts. What we see is there's three main outputs from the user input. The user input, which is the website that every user would use. First, there's the dynamic. We want to make the front end more dynamic. So we want to make sure that the website that the user is seeing is really relaying information back to them as they're going through the website. So if they sign up, for example, as I'll talk about in a minute, they're able to identify some of the causes they care about, and what you see on the website after as a user who has done that is something different than someone who would identify different passions or interests. Secondly, we do want to continue the direct communications as you've been doing so far. I think it's very important that the people who do care are constantly re-engaged and reminded of their involvement. And lastly, as we're going to dig a little bit deeper on as well, is the Google Analytics. We want to make sure that the information you've been collecting, which is quite voluminous, is actually able to be used somehow in a way that informs the process both from the refer, the input, and the use case, making sure that the data you have is actually doing something for your business and making sure that it's reinforming the process on an ongoing basis.
Is it correct to say that you're discounting mobile technologies as a form of communication? You seem to be very website focused and not so much looking at mobile technologies or apps.
Definitely, that's a great question. I think the reason we decided to go with more of a website-based model is that it's very accessible. Any device that has access to internet can use the website model. And we've actually designed some mock-ups that we'll go into in a second of what the website actually can look like in the future. And it's a really easy engagement model to follow. So we wanted to make sure that the barriers to signing up and the barriers to engaging with the cause are as minimal as possible, so that we don't have to, for example, download an app just to become a supporter of it. The problem with some strategies like this is that sometimes, similar to making a video, the actual initial step of downloading the app or making the video can actually discourage people from getting involved, and then that can inhibit some of the volume you'd like to see in the signatures.
I'd love to see your website.
For sure. Definitely. So this is actually the first page of the website. Vanessa talked briefly about the referrals, and this is a key part of our strategy, making sure that people are able to refer each other because we know it's a cause they care about, given that they've supported and pledged their support for the website. So here's a brief example of what the website might look like for someone who's just signed up. On the left, you can see there's a top 10 global ranking of some of the
back to that referrals, keep dwelling on them. Just curious, have you done any analysis on, again, when I look at the ELS drive, which was quite successful, it was fun for the millennials, watch people dump water on their heads, that's all fun. The video, the sense I got that you were going to have people talk about their illnesses, do you think that's going to engage the millennials? That's kind of depressing and millennials are a bit more up.
For sure, that's a very fair point. There's two main parts. So there's the millennials and there's the corporate aspect. If I move forward just one slide, I think this is kind of what you're looking for. So the videos will be more from a personal marketing campaign aspect. So if I'm Darren, if I have a cause that I particularly care about, I can make a video and post to my Facebook or otherwise as an effort for me to engage more people and refer them through my link and feel good, but also know that I'm doing something good for the cause. So for example, if I care about this is actually the videos that will be featured on the website. Currently, the organization actually has a fantastic video, but it currently only resides on YouTube. So it only has a couple hundred views. By putting it right on the website, given how engaging and how fantastic the video actually is, we think that we can see this double overnight and increase exponentially. But because the users are never actually linked to the video currently through the website or anything, it's tough for the user to engage with the cause the level that we'd like to see them engaging at. Moving forward a little bit, after signing up, one thing we want to do...
Can I just jump into the question about the numbers?
Yeah.
So if I understand properly, your plan is to no longer pay for subscriptions through change.org. That was in your budget, is that correct? Is that correct? You're no longer, the strategy is to no longer pay for a change.org strategy?
It's something we could continue doing. Sorry, the financials we showed earlier were more of an exhibit of what the new strategy will cost, rather than the entire breakdown of the financials of the organization.
Okay, so does your recommendation include continuing with the change.org and similar?
It does, for sure. I think that's a very important point, given that we know that change.org and similar websites are very important to the success of the organization so far. They've been pushing great volume. I think the difference that we want to move to more of a consumer side of the model, or a user side of the model, so that people are engaging each other, rather than us pushing people to change.org and having feedback into the website. The model that we've developed here really allows users to engage with the website in a way that makes them care about the cause, and makes them refer people, or helps them refer, and encourages them to refer people in a way that really connects with them.
So to date, we have about 7,000 signatures driven through the website from all sources, all referring sources. And your strategy is very much hinged upon being able to drastically increase the number of the amount of traffic through the website. And can you show us your projections for how it would grow from 7,000 up to your target number?
Definitely. So we move a little bit forward. This is kind of a high level of what we expect to see going forward in 2016 and 2017. So we've calculated out a worst case and base case just for a bit of an idea of what we expect to see. I think one thing that this hinges on is that we're hiring two people to do a lot of this reaching out. So there's the top-down movement of hiring someone to make the relationships with the Richard Branson type people to really flow through. So right now, Richard Branson, for example, is a supporter. He's kind of there, and he's a great face to have on the website. But we want to make sure that someone in your organization with more time than yourselves is there to constantly engage and connect with people like Richard Branson, so that those people then push that through the organization. I definitely agree that, that it'd be tough for us to connect with millions of people just from the start, but by connecting with 10 right people, we could definitely find those millions and millions of people very quickly. So, moving back slightly.
Before you go to the slide.
Pardon?
Go ahead. Before you go to the slide,
Yeah.
how did you decide that 1.5% increase was sort of reasonable? Why did we believe those numbers?
Oh, for sure. So what the base case is based on is essentially is an initial penetration of the market. And we can dive a little bit deeper into this if you want. But essentially what we did is we took the populations of Canada and the US. We looked at what the corporate population was in the services industry, only people that work in office jobs, because these are the people we'd be connecting with, as well as people who are currently studying in a university type of organization or a college or something similar. From there, we dived down a little bit deeper in terms of what we expected to be able to reach in terms of the number of people we could reach. And we came out to about 1.5% as an initial target for, of the people, of the hundreds of millions of people in these categories, we want to reach just 1.5% of them, or we think we can expect to reach just 1.5% of them. Now, even at half that, at about 0.75%, this still leaves us with a 1.3 million signatures within the first year.
So, fail fast is something that we are very fond of. Within a month, how many signatures should we expect to have? And how do we know if we have failed or not?
For sure, it's a great question. I think a lot of what the model is predicated on, as you can see here in the second year especially, is that we're moving toward more the referrer model. Within the first month, you could expect probably to see that number from the 90,000 signatures currently on the website today jump to something about double that. There will be definitely an initial surge because a lot of the efforts that come on board in hiring these two new people will see immediate effects. And from there, so just jumping back for a second, hiring those two people kind of gets us to this point. We engage with people at an initial level and we get some, admittedly, somewhat small percentage engaged. Maybe that's only 1%, but that's not that hard. And from there, what we expect is that those people then refer other people. We've estimated approximately each person will, refer approximately 3 people. On average, obviously, there'll be some with a lot more and some with a lot less. And that will translate into growth going forward. So in the first month, we could expect maybe a doubling, and that won't always be the case. It's not fair to expect that we're going to see exponential curve forever. But given the referrer model, you see network effects that are unbeatable with a pay-per-click model, which is much more linear in what you see. So I'm going to pass it back to Ellen to kind of go through a little bit deeper on this slide and then into the implementation and tactical recommendations from there, things of that sort.
Thank you, Darren. So I think Darren touched on most of the important points on the slide. The fact that initially we're focusing on direct marketing to target our users, whereas in the future we're focused more on a referral-based model and we'll rely on our referrals to achieve a spiral effect and gain exponential growth. So on the next slide, we've considered some of the individuals that we're going to hire in order to implement both the ACE as well as the IS facets of our strategy. The first hire we propose is a technical hire. This is going to be a web developer who is going to be working on implementation of both the referral as well as the other components of the website. And the other stream is the non-technical hires. And these are the individuals who will target either university students at a more grassroots level or will focus on reaching businesses and target at a higher level in order for someone influential to move downwards and target the other people within the organization. Something else.
So before you go off the organization, your whole strategy seems to come down to 2 key hires. Mm-hmm. How would you recommend us making sure we find those right 2 people?
So I don't think that the entire strategy is focused on these 2 hires. These are just the people who are going to be seeking out those initial touch points within universities as well as corporations, but something else we rely a lot on would be the referrals and people referring others in the future to create a spiral effect as previously mentioned. But with regards to technical hires and non-technical hires and how we screen for them, in our appendix we actually have a job description that we created where we outline all of the qualities that we're looking for and what our organization really requires, so we can focus on those metrics in order to determine who to hire. So on the next slide then, we focused on some of the financial investments that are required. As we previously spoke about, we are planning on hiring public relations for universities as well as for corporations, and this will cost us $120,000. We're going to hire a web developer, and finally we have some overhead, which encompasses things such as servers. As Vanessa previously mentioned, with the model. We want to establish a call to action, and finally we want to seek donations, and we hope that those donations will really drive forth our business and will cover some of the costs.